Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis. In for Will Sutton. Will is he's off. He has flown away and he is on his way or had well yeah, he's on his way actually to go spend some family time. And so I'm happy to sit with you and to spend some quality time with you this morning on the Good Morning Show. We actually have a lot to cover on this Friday. Um The Trump administration is running into some problems right now, legal problems. And one of them is a federal judge who blocked a regulation limiting immigration appeals. Also, excuse me, also, the Underground Railroad Museum is fighting the Trump administration on the legal front. That is very interesting. Can't wait to get to that story. But first, here's something that is developing or has developed. This was something breaking news about 20 minutes ago, and it's Enola.com by way of the Associated Press. Lisa Mascaro and Mary Clark Jelinek, I hope I got that name right, at least on one of those tries, reported earlier this morning, again, about 20 minutes ago, that the Senate approves funding for TSA and most of Homeland Security amid long airport lines, not limiting, I'm sorry, but not immigration enforcement. The story reads out of Washington. The Senate early Friday morning approved Homeland Security funds to pay TSA agents and most other agencies, but not immigration enforcement operations at the heart of the budget impasse that has jammed airports, disrupted travel, and imposed financial hardship on workers. The deal, which the Senate approved unanimously without a roll call, next goes to the House, which is expected to consider it on Friday. Quote, we can get at least a lot of the government opened up again, and then we'll go on from there, said Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who's a Republican out of South Dakota. Obviously, we'll still have some work ahead of us. With the pressure mounting to resolve the 42-day stalemate over funding for the Department of Homeland Security, the endgame emerged in the final hours before TSA workers missed another paycheck on Friday. President Donald Trump said he would sign an order to immediately pay the TSA agents, saying he wanted to quickly stop the, quote, chaos at airports. The deal did not include any of the restraints Democrats have demanded as they sought to rein in Trump's mass deportation agenda. The story goes on to read that Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said that the outcome could have been reached weeks ago and vowed that his party would continue fighting to ensure Trump's rogue immigration operation does not get more funding without serious reform. Those are quotes attributed to Schumer. And so, looking at the ins and outs of the funding package, senators worked through the night on the deal that will fund much of the rest of the department, including FEMA, the Coast Guard, and TSA, but without funding for ICE. Customs was funded, but Border Patrol was not. The package puts new limits on immigration enforcement, which has remained largely uninterrupted by the shutdown, the story says. The GOP's big tax cuts bill that Trump signed into law last year funneled billions into extra funds to DHS, including $75 billion for ICE operations, ensuring that the immigration officers are still being paid despite the lapse. And of course, these are images that have frustrated people on social media. ICE agents who are being paid working next to TSA agents who are not being paid. The story goes on to say the next steps in the House where Speaker Mike Johnson holds a slim majority are uncertain. Passage will almost certainly require bipartisan support as lawmakers on the left and right flanks revolt, I should say. Conservative Republicans have panned their own party's proposals demanding full funding for immigration operations. Many have vowed to ensure ICE has the resources it needs in the next budget package to carry out Trump's agenda. The story says, and the story goes on from there. Again, you can check it out at NOLA.com. But um, it's interesting because there was one Republican at least who said that they will fully fund ICE. That's Eric Schmidt out of Missouri, and he said that's what the fight is about. But from the looks of it, people are sick and tired of being sick and tired at this point. I'm pretty sure a lot of this probably has to do with people going back to their districts and maybe taking a bit of a beating. That might be it. You decide not to pay people. And of course, with the lines at the airport being what they are, people are not happy at all about this, understandably so. And so here we are again. That story broke about 20 minutes ago, and it's available at NOLA.com. Senate approves funding for TSA and most of Homeland Security amid long airport lines, but not immigration enforcement. So, what are your thoughts here? What do you think is really happening? Of course, that talk line is open 504 582 9422. 504 582 9422. I'm flying solo today, so keep me company. Hang out with me. I would love to know what you think about this development, but I can't wait to read some of these other stories, especially the federal judge blocking the Trump regulation limiting immigration appeals, the Underground Railroad Museum fighting the Trump administration right now. Now, of course, we had an incident yesterday. Um, Not a great incident here in the city. Two in critical condition. Suspect dead after shooting by Tulane Medical School. NOPD says that story also in NOLA.com, reported by Missy Wilkinson. Two people are in critical condition, and a suspect is dead. New Orleans police officers responded to the CBD shooting near near Tulane's Health Sciences Center, 1400 block of Tulane Avenue. That happened yesterday around 2:45 p.m. The crime scene set up cordoned off an entire block, as the story says, as top NOPD brass worked the scene, including the stretch beneath medical school sky bridge. Students and faculty crossed overhead, some pausing to look down at an intersection scattered with evidence, markers, shell casings, and a handgun. A suspect who has not been identified by police allegedly attacked a person walking near Tulane Avenue and LaSalle Street. He pushed the victim into the bushes, where a struggle ensued before standing up and opening fire, Chief Erin Kirkpatrick said at her media briefing. The suspect also shot a Tulane maintenance worker before a Tulane University police officer who had been working a service call at a nearby the nearby Hutchinson Memorial Building arrived and shot the suspect. The suspect died from his wounds within an hour, NOPD reports. NOPD's investigation team was on the scene, and they didn't identify the victims, the suspect, or the Tulane officer who was shot, nor did they specify a motive or how many shots were fired. A source familiar with the matter said that the suspect had been a psychiatric patient at nearby Tulane University Medical Center immediately before the shooting, but that he had left after being told he would need to pass through a metal detector. Clarence Porter, who lives near the scene, said he heard four shots. Both victims were treated at Tulane University Medical Center's emergency department, which borders the shooting scene, before being transported to the University Medical Center. Officers remained outside the ER as the crime scene tape blocked the ambulance's access, I should say. And so by 6 o'clock, the tape had come down, and so that is what we have as far as what happened, the big news that happened in the city yesterday. Now, of course, you can get in on the conversation, 504 582 9422. 504-582-9422. You know, of course, you can also reach out to us on Facebook. You can reach us on Facebook at WBOK 1230 AM. You can hang out with us on YouTube as well. And Instagram. Well, we're doing Instagram Live this morning, Jared. We're doing Instagram Live. Okay, so it's me and Jared this morning. Will, he's going to do the family thing. So safe travels to our fearless leader on the Good Morning show. But we're going to be back with more news. And of course, the phone lines are open for you. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. I'm Eddie Francis. This is the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good Friday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. This morning, a man is recovering in New Orleans after being shot in the Milan neighborhood. It happened just after midnight on Louisiana Avenue and South Saratoga Street, and he was taken to the hospital. Call Crime Stoppers if you know anything that can help investigators. 2 people are recovering after being shot in what appears to be a random shooting near Tulane Medical Center downtown. It comes as Tulane police shot and killed the gunman. Police say one of the victims is a Tulane maintenance worker. It happened yesterday afternoon between Tulane's downtown campus and the LCMC emergency room entrance. At last check, the 2 victims are in critical condition. Police say they're now working alongside New Orleans police as a force investigation team takes over. A court consolidation that will seriously shake up the judicial system in New Orleans is moving forward in the legislative session. This after an hours-long fierce debate. House Bill 911 is now moving on to the full House. It would merge criminal and civil court and reduce the number of judges from 27 to 13. The move is meant to put the system in line with orders across the state and save the city of New Orleans millions. However, those against the bill say judges already deal with high caseloads in the city and that cutting their numbers will make things worse. And the Senate approved a package to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security and end what is now the longest partial government shutdown. The bill heads to the House, where it could be voted on this morning before lawmakers leave for their 2-week spring break recess. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
Good morning.
Wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK. To the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Will is off to go hang out with family and spend some quality time. Safe travels, my friend, and can't wait for you to get back so we can hang out again, so we can do it all again. You can hang out with us, of course, on Facebook. WBOK 1230 AM. You can hang out with us on YouTube at WBOK. We're streaming live there. We're also streaming live on Instagram. And, of course, you can do it the old-fashioned way. That would be the radio. That's what we call it. Yeah, just go ahead and turn on your radio and tune in to 1230 a.m. We're streaming live at WBOK1230.com. And if you have the Play Ode app, we are streaming live there as well. Hang out with me. Come sit for a spell, and let's talk about what's happening in our country, and let's talk about what's happening in the world today.
As a matter of fact, the Trump administration, they're not getting such great news right now. Um, this is a very interesting piece, and this is reported by Verite News, Bobby G. Missick, I should say. And the story is federal judge blocks Trump regulation limiting immigration appeals. The federal government said the new regulation was intended to streamline the appeals process and reduce a massive backlog of cases, but legal services said that it was part and parcel of the Trump administration's efforts to upend immigrants' rights to due process. Missick writes, a proposed Trump administration regulation that would have made it more difficult for thousands of immigrants around the country to challenge deportation orders is on hold after a federal judge found this month that the rule would unlawfully deprive them of the right to a meaningful appeal process. The new policy, published in early February, would have drastically changed the process by which the Board of Immigration Appeals, an administrative review board that has the power to overturn immigration court decisions, accepts and considers cases for review. Among other things, the rule, which is set to take effect March 9th, would have cut the deadline to file appeal applications and made it easier for the BIA to summarily dismiss them. Last month, 5 nonprofit legal and social service groups around the country filed suit in Washington, D.C. federal court against the U.S. Department of Justice and the Executive Office of Immigration Review, the DOJ agency that oversees U.S. immigration court system, asking for the rule to be vacated. Quote, the rule is part and parcel of the Trump-Vance administration's systemic efforts to upend immigrants' rights to due process and interfere with the ability of organizations like plaintiffs to defend those immigrants' rights. This is according to attorneys for the organizations, and this is what they wrote in their complaint, which was actually in late February. In early March, a decision issued late the night before the new policy was to go into effect. U.S. District Judge Randolph D. Moss blocked the core provisions of the proposed rules, calling it, quote, a fast-track mechanism for disposing of the vast majority of BIA appeals, while letting other changes slide through. If the new rule were to take effect, Moss said in a 73-page opinion, a non-citizen appellant who, quote, currently has the least hope of persuading the BIA that the immigration judge erred would almost certainly lose his case before the BIA before it even begins. Right now, the BIA is required to review most appeals on their merits. But this new rule would require the BIA to swiftly dismiss any appeal filed on or after March 9th unless a majority of its members voted to fully review the immigration judge's ruling in the case. This kind of process, the story says, and Missick writes, would almost certainly disadvantage immigrants seeking appeal. Over the past year, the Trump administration has cut the BIA nearly in half, from 28 to 15 board members, according to a recent report by NPR, National Public Radio. An analysis of BIA decisions of the news organization found that the remaining members, nearly all of them Trump appointees, have sided overwhelmingly with the Trump administration since last year. And so this is an interesting development. As the story continues to say that court filings from the government argue that the new rule would have significantly streamlined the appeals process, reducing the growing backlog of cases before the BIA, which has reached more than 200,000. As of March 13th, A status report filed with the court, the federal government had not yet determined whether it would seek an appeal of Moss's order. Representatives with the Department of Justice and for the Executive Office of Immigration Review did not respond to requests for comment on Moss's ruling. Again, this is according to a story in Verite News. Bobby Jean Missick, who we have the pleasure of having here on WBOK sometimes, wrote that story. And again, that story is a federal judge blocks the Trump regulation limiting immigration appeals. So what do you think is happening here? Or is anything happening? Do you think that there is anything going on that indicates that there are people actually starting to fight the Trump administration back? And if people are fighting the Trump administration back, do you think it's going to move the needle? I would love to hear your thoughts. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. Good morning on Facebook. Professor Martinez, thank you so much for hanging out, as always. Jarrett, she said good morning. And also good morning to the folks who are hanging out with us on YouTube. Good morning if you're hanging out also on Instagram Live. We'd definitely love to hear from you, and would definitely love to know your thoughts about what's happening right now, especially as there seem to be some movement with cases happening with the Trump administration. As a matter of fact, that is not the only fight that is happening as far as the Trump administration is concerned. Because also, a little later on, well, no, actually, let's talk about it right now. This is according to NBCnews.com. The Underground Railroad Museum sues the Trump administration, alleging it canceled a grant on the basis of race. Check this out. This report by Kyla Guilfoyle. An Underground Railroad Museum in upstate New York alleged in a lawsuit, and this is a couple of Fridays ago. Actually, this is 2 Fridays ago. Alleged in a lawsuit 2 Fridays ago that the Trump administration unlawfully terminated its federal grant on the basis of race, pointing to President Donald Trump's efforts to dismantle diversity-focused initiatives. The Underground Railroad Education Center in Albany, New York, alleges that the National Endowment for Humanity's cancellation of a $250,000 grant amounted to viewpoint and racial discrimination, violating the First and Fifth Amendments. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of New York, and it calls for the funds to be reinstated. The suit cited Trump's January 2025 executive order that required federal agencies to eliminate any operations supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives within 60 days. The 40-page brief outlined 1,400 grants that were terminated in early April 2025 for their conflict with President Trump's executive order and the new agency's priorities adopted in their wake. The lawyer for the museum, Nina Lowenstein, told NBC News that there is, quote, just no legitimate basis for the grant's cancellation, adding that it just explicitly erasing things associated with the black race. Lowenstein and the team of lawyers volunteering on the case through Lawyers for Good Government, an organization that provides free legal services for civil and human rights cases, argue that the Underground Railroad Education Center is just one of thousands of organizations that have been unlawfully targeted by the Trump administration. Numerous statements of the current executive branch leadership reflect overt and coded racism, supporting white supremacy, and denigrating black history in America, the lawsuit said. It added that the administration systematically targeted grantees and programs that sought to increase the public's understanding of Black history and culture. So, what is happening? These, to me, are some really interesting developments, because one of the questions that I have been asking is, when are folks going to fight back? And I'm going to share a perspective with you that I heard yesterday about the legal path of a lot of these cases. But I would love to know what you think. Again, the number is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Of course, as always, you can comment on Facebook. You can comment on YouTube. You can comment also on Instagram Live. I'm Eddie Francis, in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Expect partly cloudy skies and a very warm day ahead. Could even reach near records for some places, looking at 82 to 86 degrees. And then for tonight, a cold front moves in that's going to drop our temperatures as we head into Saturday. So for tonight, 56 to 62, and then for Saturday, highs only 74 to 76. Dry conditions as well, a fire watch in effect for the North Shore. Then for Sunday, back into the 70s as well, 80s next week. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch.
Some combos are too good to miss. Now you can pull up a chair to the front porch anytime.
Just search WBOK Media and subscribe to the Front Porch Podcast.
Download, share, and hit us with a 5-star rating, because New Orleans culture deserves to be heard loud and clear.
The Ron Kelly Show. Real talk, bold truth. Tune in for your weekly dose of unapologetic conversations that don't dodge the truth or dilute the message. Stay informed on the issues that matter most on The Ron Kelly Show, every Monday at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Come celebrate the history, legacy, and culture of the African diaspora with the Congo Squares Rhythm Festival, presented by the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation on March 28th and 29th in Louis Armstrong Park. Don't miss 2 full days of live musical performances featuring Chawa, Zigaboo Modaliste, Big Sam's Funky Nation, and many, many more. A variety of food vendors, handmade works of art, and the return of the highly anticipated Class Got Brass competition. This event is free and open to the public. For more information, visit CongoSquareRhythms.com.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis, in for Will Sutton. So pleased to hang out with you on this Friday morning. Nice morning, by the way. It is really, really nice. Let's see, what's the weather going to be like today? Oh, man. Sunny, a high of 82. You know what you should do? You should get out and do something today. Go work outside. If you're a teacher, take the kids out. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have suggested that. Maybe I should have run that past somebody's principal first. I don't know. But this is one of the things I enjoyed about college, though. I remember the first time at Loyola, I had a class outside. Did you have a class outside? Jared, did any of your professors ever hold class outside? You sat on the, not the activity squad, but the P squad. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah, that was actually the first time that happened when I was in college, and we had a class outside, and it was the coolest thing to me. I was like, man, this is so nice. It was sitting in the grass and everything and just chatting with professors. And, you know, the thing that was so cool about that, I think this is really part of a student's development, is that you're being treated like an adult. you have this professor sitting here just chatting with you like you're one of the homies almost. And that is one of the best things, especially for colleges, especially in the South, and I have to imagine on the West Coast. It is really cool um, when you are early fall and a professor says, "Yeah, let's go outside and do class," or you're going in the spring and a professor says, "Let's go outside." That is the coolest. Again, your calls more than welcome this morning about what's happening with people fighting the Trump administration back. That it looks like people are actually getting some fight in them. But one of the perspectives that I heard about this just yesterday, actually, in a conversation with my wife, actually, we were just going back and forth about some of the activity that we were starting to see, some of the news, and I was looking at one of these news stories. And I was actually telling her about the Underground Railroad story, Underground Railroad Museum story. And she said, one of the things that people in the legal community have been saying is just hold on, be patient. There's a lot of activity happening in the courts right now. And you're going to be interested to see what's going to develop. And so it looks like those developments may be happening. However, the way Trump rolls is he likes to flood the legal community with things. So he just keeps doing stuff. And one of the things that I have heard and I've read is that part of his strategy is to get things hung up in the legal process, because what he wants to do is he wants to starve people financially. But is the fight actually going to work? We have Charlotte on the line this morning. Good morning, Charlotte. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, I was calling in to say that I believe, my own opinion, is that we need to be taught how to fight again so that we can get more people on board. And how do we teach our people how to fight? We have to fight for our schools again. And I know this is a long stretch, but I believe that if we get our Black Catholic schools to combine with each other, then we can have a better control of the education that we're teaching them. Because so many of us are putting our kids into Catholic schools now, but the numbers are still dwindling down for the Black Catholic schools. I believe that if they combine each other, we could have an uptown campus. And in the schools I'm talking about are St. Augustine, St. Mary's, Xavier Prep, because their enrollments are low. I don't know too much about St. Augustine, but if we get those to be co-ed, and we can have an uptown campus, a New Orleans East campus, and a Mid-City campus. And that way, I do believe that the families would put the kids in those schools so we can better control what we're teaching them, and they can be stronger individuals. That's just my opinion, not saying that should be, it's just my opinion to solve the problem.
So it's an interesting thought. That actually has happened.
But I know, the MAC.
So it happened when we had the MAC school. And I think the argument, and I can definitely say this as a St. Aug alum, I think the argument would be that these schools want to maintain gender-specific education, and they do it that way for a reason. Now, one thing I have seen among the three, among St. Aug, St. Mary's, and Catherine Drexel, is I have seen them attempt to pool resources in other ways. And I don't know specifically what they have done, but I have seen bits and pieces of things that they have done to try to pool their resources. I do know that there are families that are definitely saying, listen, my son is definitely going to go to St. Aug. My daughter is definitely going to go to St. Mary's or to Catherine Drexel. And so you definitely have those families. I think the argument that all three of those schools would make, though, and especially between Catherine Drexel and St. Mary's, which are run by two different orders of nuns, I think the argument that they would maintain is that what they want to do is they want to maintain a gender-specific education. And I can say as a young man, it was it worked for me. It worked very very well for me. And you know what's a funny thing? The funniest thing, Charlotte, is that at St. Aug, we always had those dudes who said, "Man, I can't stand it here, man. A whole bunch of dudes around here." And we look at 4 years later, they're still there, and the complaint went away in like a year. But to your point, though, I don't think it's a bad argument. I really think that what you are suggesting makes sense. The question is whether or not the three schools would see that. Maybe the compromise here is for all three schools to share resources and space at certain times of the year. And that to me would be interesting. I would be eager to see what that actually looks like. But what I do like about what you said is I do like that you are coming with a different idea about it. Although I know many of my fellow Purple Knights would just vehemently disagree with you, and I know a lot.
I understand that too, and I said that because my daughter, she did not want to go to an all-girls school.
Yeah.
She was very adamant about it, so I didn't push the issue too much. So I said, well, okay, I'll send you to a co-ed school, but it's so many of them over there in all these, the few co-ed schools that they have. So I think that a lot of kids also want to be in each other's company, but supervised. Really being supervised. And I think that we're in a time today to that they just really, I don't know how to say this without not being politically, nice about it. But it's just too much going on with just girls, too much going on with just boys. So if they get back together again, then maybe we can control some things. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying nothing about anybody's preference, but give us a chance to reboot. And I do believe that's the only way right now that we can control the situation.
Oh, yeah. Well, but I'll say this, Charlotte, and your daughter is not alone. I can't tell you how many friends of mine have said, I didn't want to go to St. Aug, or I didn't want to go to Brother Martin or Holy Cross or something, because I didn't want to be around all them boys all the time. I can't tell you how many women I know who say, I wasn't going to Cabrini or St. Mary's or Catherine Drexel or Xavier Prep because I didn't want to be around all them girls. And then they go to another school, and this is no slight against any other school. But they will go to another school, and then they graduate, and they say, you know what, I actually really do wish I had gone to I wish I had gone to the all-boys or the all-girls school. I have heard a lot of people say that.
Okay.
And the thing is that they would say things like, I'm not going to lie, I didn't want to go because I didn't want to be taught in a specific way. I didn't like the whole discipline thing. And then I went somewhere else and realized that I needed the discipline. I did need the environment. I did need to be around other boys. I did need to be around other girls. I mean, I'll use my son as an example. My son, my son was in Catholic elementary schools, but I was actually open to sending him somewhere besides St. Aug. And so we had those discussions. And one of the things that I brought up to his mom was, I really think, because he went to Catholic school in Kenner. And I said, I really think he needs to be around black males. He needs to be in a black male specific environment. He needs to be around other boys. And the reason I wanted him to be in the environment is I wanted him to compete. I wanted him to compete with young men who are just as talented, just as smart, if not more talented, if not smarter. And at first, He didn't like the idea. He wasn't crazy about it. He did look at another all-boys school. His mom was interested in another all-boys school. He went to St. Aug to take a look around the school when he was in 7th grade, and he fell in love with it. Just fell in love with it. And he said, I like the way they dress. I like the way they carry themselves. I like the teachers. I like the way the teachers talk to the boys. And so that's actually what sold him, and that's what sold his mom. They actually saw the value in his being in that specific space. And he did kind of beef with me while he was there, and then he graduated, and now he's thankful he went. But
okay.
But yeah, but I do think that there's a happy medium somewhere in your suggestion. I do think it's somewhere, and I would be interested in what the presidents of those 3 schools have maybe thought about themselves.
Correct. Yes, because I think that that's the way to keep it going and to put money back into that system so that it don't die out. So you have to start somewhere.
I do like, though, your idea of resource sharing, and I do think that's something that's needed. Maybe they're doing that already. Again, I don't know the inner workings of the 3 schools.
Right, I don't know either.
Yeah, but maybe they are doing that, and I do think I will say I will take this opportunity to recognize the work of Austin Taylor, the president of St. Aug, because he is a very creative thinker, and he takes risks. He takes a lot of risks, and sometimes he takes a beating for the risks that he takes, but I think they're worth it. And so maybe that's one of those types of things that maybe he's discussed with the folks at Catherine Drexel and St. Mary's. But I appreciate you. And I have to ask you this question because I just read these 2 stories about folks fighting the Trump administration back legally. What do you think? Do you think that there's some real fights starting to appear in people?
No.
Really?
I do not believe that.
Why not?
I don't because I don't think that it's real. I believe that they're just kind of like pacifying everything. And that's just my opinion because that's what it looks like. Now, I'm not behind the scenes to know everything, but it looks like it's just, you remember how they used to just pretend like they fighting back in the day, play fight? That's what I think that this is, because you really don't know how to fight. No one really taught us how to fight. That stopped in the 80s because we thought that we made it. It was like, oh, yeah, everything is all good. And they stopped teaching us how to fight. And our parents were still carrying the torch. And I don't think that they passed it down to us. I think they passed it to our children, the next generation, because I do see some of them trying to fight, but they look like they're losing the battle because we're fighting against the cell phone, social media, stuff like that. So we're being distracted while they're doing what they need to do. That's just my opinion on that.
So you think this is political and legal theater?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Charlotte, thank you so much for calling this morning. Appreciate you.
All right. We got to learn how to fight now.
Thank you so much.
They have to teach us how to fight again.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You have a great day.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Do you agree with Charlotte? Have we forgotten how to fight? There are a lot of people who say the answer to that is yes. There were a lot of people who would agree with Charlotte. I actually am inclined to agree too. Have we gotten too comfortable? Because right now, my observation, based on a couple of stories this morning, a judge blocking the Trump administration to basically skirt due process with immigrants. And also the Underground Railroad Museum actually suing the Trump administration over discrimination. I mean, I have to be honest with you, that's one of those it's about time things for me. And I have another thought here. My other thought is that If this were President Barack Obama doing all of this foolishness, people would have fought him even before his inauguration. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind. Higher education would have fought this man even before his inauguration. If Barack Obama had done a lot of the stuff that Donald Trump has done in the past year. And think about that. We're only a year plus into this presidency, which means we have over 3 years to go. If Barack Obama had even uttered a word that he wanted to do something along the lines of what Donald Trump has been doing, the legal community, the education community, people in government agencies would have been fighting from jump. There is no doubt in my mind they would have found the fight in them a long time ago. The man would not have made it to the inauguration. I'm telling you, even if he had made it to the inauguration, he would not have made it a year into his presidency. Reverend Calhoun is on the line this morning. Good morning, Rev. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Eddie. Let me just say, what fight do we get in? Because there are so many fights to fight.
Interesting.
The fight that we got in juvenile court for the state of Louisiana to reduce the judges down to 13 speaks volumes of a fight that's the whole community needs to be in Baton Rouge to try to explain, to try to stop what's going on. I don't think people understand that they're picking on New Orleans. If you look at what's really happening here, when you look at what you were just saying about Trump and how he attacks people, what he has put in his mind as to what he wants you to defend. When we go to looking at it, there is so many fights to fight till it ain't even funny.
Yeah.
Now, how do we mobilize? How do we get people to understand what fight they should be in? How do we come together? If it's going to be the fight on education, is it going to be the fight about the court system? Because I still don't believe a lot of people really understand what's going on in Baton Rouge with the House and Senate bill to reduce the juvenile judgeship here.
Talk about it. Talk about that a little bit, Reverend Calhoun.
Well, there's the Senate bill. I can't call off the top of my head the numbers right now. I can in a few. But what's happening is that they wants to reduce the juvenile justice judges from 23 to 13. They want to, as well as now, appoint judges. This is a tactic that's being used in Mississippi right now, in Jackson. So what they're doing is actually taking away your right to vote in judges, and the governor and those people that supports his opinion actually wants to now say that they're going to control the juvenile justice system here.
Yeah.
If you take away 10 judges, do you realize how long these court systems will be backed up? If we no longer have a voice in judges that we elect, and that state government now is going to appoint judges, what voice then do we have at all in our juvenile justice system? So at this point, we need to get everybody to really hear about what's going on in Baton Rouge and what's going on. And let me remind you, this is only for Orleans Parish. All right? And their premise is that, we're going to save millions of dollars if we do this. All right? Well, in my opinion, if New Orleans wouldn't send these millions of dollars to Baton Rouge, they wouldn't have the $1 million to save. So I don't know who's coming up with these ideas to bring down the juvenile justice system in New Orleans. I don't know, but I do think it's worth a fight.
Yeah.
And I do think that people have to come together to understand exactly what's being done and why it's being done. Is it all about saving money, as they claim, or there's another agenda here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when we look at what's happening, and again, Governor Landry follows Donald Trump to the T.
Absolutely.
He could change Landry to Tandry, I think he would. But I'm just saying, we're at a stage now that we can't keep waiting for it to happen to us before we get involved with the fight that's really before us. We have to fight right now, because if you allow them to now put these things in place, there's a constitutional amendment that that's out there to make sure that no way can we stop it once this becomes law, constitutional. So I'm just saying that, there are some fights. I agree with the lady in terms about are we too weak to fight, or we are too not knowledgeable about what fight do we get in? Who do we fight?
Yeah. Yeah.
So many times the fight is to try to turn us against each other that we find more time fighting one another than fighting what's really creating the issue.
Yeah, and Rev, I appreciate you, and we got to go to a break, but thank you so much for that. That we really, really appreciate that. And we're going to take more of your calls, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Pop Jones, I see you. We're going to get to you right after the break. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Make sure you tune in on Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. for the Roux with Chef Bunny, sponsored by Blue Plate Mayonnaise on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month from the Community Scientist and Rise St. James. This month's focus is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, formed when fuels like oil, gas, wood, or trash are burned. These chemicals can enter the air we breathe and settle into our soil and water. Many PAHs are known carcinogens, adding to the health burdens faced by communities living near industry. Learn how to protect your health at risestjames.org.
Transform your bathroom with the beautiful quality of Bath Planet. As a trusted leader in bathroom renovation, Bath Planet has earned the Good Housekeeping Seal, a symbol of quality and consumer confidence for over 100 years. Get half off installation or 18 months with no interest and no payments. Whether it's tub replacement, a shower replacement, or a tub-to-shower conversion, Bath Planet makes your custom bath fast, easy, and affordable. Here's how it works. 1. Call to schedule your free, no-obligation consultation. 2. Our design experts come to you with real samples to customize your dream bath. 3. Our certified installers complete the transformation in as little as 1 day. And right now, for a limited time, you can upgrade your bathroom for 50% off installation or choose 18 months with no interest and no payments. But you need to call now. This special offer is only available by calling 800-981-8177. That's 800-981-8177. Call 800-981-8177 right now before the offer ends.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. And thank you so much for not just letting me sit here and talk to myself the entire time. Although I have no problems talking to myself. I don't respond. Just to be clear, I don't respond 100% of the time. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Pop Jones on the line this morning. Good morning, Pop.
All right, Eddie.
What's going on with you?
How are you, Eddie?
I'm doing good.
You're holding down the fort. I see you doing wonderful, too.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Pop.
Look, Reverend Calhoun, not my pastor, but I agree with everything he's saying, but I'm a believer.
Mm-hmm.
The first question I like to ask, where's the church? Where are the believers? Then I could think about an old country preacher told me a long time ago, they're not going to do no more than what you allow them to do you. If you vote for a mess and the person tell you what they're going to do, man, Eddie, how do you deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
You and a lot of them still support them.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the answer to something like that? And then, like Reverend Calhoun saying, if I understand him correctly, there's a whole lot of people not fighting. But there's some that's coming forward because we'd be worse off if it wasn't some people standing up against this foolishness.
Yeah.
That's what I call it, foolishness, madness. You know what I mean? I'm a believer, say a house divided against itself cannot stand.
Amen.
And I don't understand why. I could think about, like I said, I'm not a preacher, but I could think about, I think the disciples was on board ship and the storm was raging and Jesus was down in the ship sleeping. And they saw that the storm was about to tear the boat up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they went down there, and I think they called on Jesus. And he spoke to the ones in the waves, and they obeyed his will. He said, peace, be still. So I think we could solve a lot of our problems yesterday, Eddie.
Yeah. And Pop,
see, it seems because there's no way in the world no one person could do all this by itself.
I agree 100% with you on that. Excuse me. You know, we didn't get into this mess with one person, and we're not going to get out of it with one person. And I couldn't agree with you more. And Pop, we have to go to a break, but thank you so much for calling as always.
Thank you very much for taking my call, Eddie. You have a blessed one.
You too. Thank you so much, Pop. And you know, this may come off as a corny question, but I have to know something because this is a conversation that is coming up, especially with the ground that is being gained by James Tallarico in Texas. What role does faith play in this time that we are in right now? We have Christian nationalism. We also have folks who are saying, you know, people who've floated away from church or faith overall, but there are also a lot of folks who are reinvesting in their faith. And I think something really interesting is happening there. I'm going to give you more of my thoughts when we get back, but the phone lines are open. 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Give me a call. Keep me company. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Texas is moving to ban undocumented immigrants from getting professional licenses. The state's licensing department says licenses are a benefit for citizens only. The board's attorney, Derek Burkhalter.
The department carefully reviewed concerns and determined that the proposed rules do not impose unreasonable burdens.
Starting in May, the rule will affect electricians, AC repair workers, hairdressers, and more. Delta is suspending perks for members of Congress during the government shutdown, saying resources are strained while TSA agents go unpaid. Some perks include VIP escorts. TSA callouts in Atlanta have topped 40% on certain days, worsening airport delays. And Nia Long has filed for a restraining order against a woman she says has stalked her for more than 2 years, even showing up at her LA home. A judge denied the immediate request with a full hearing set for April. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Will is taking some well-deserved time off to hang out with family in California. Safe travels to you, my friend. Safe travels. And good morning to the Facebook family. Thank you so much for hanging out as always. Alicia Plummer, good morning to you. Good morning, Deborah Jones. Good morning, Linda Lewis. Good morning, Carol Sanders. Appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out. Jacqueline Wilmore, thank you so much for hanging out. Who else do we have hanging out with us this morning? Joshua Edmond. Hello, Joshua. How are you? Hope things are going well. Karen Marks, thank you so much. Okay, Karen Marks. Let me tell you, Karen Marks makes my morning. Karen, here's what I love that you do. The red, black, and green hearts. Thank you so much. You make me want to sing, lift every voice and sing the whole thing. You know what? All right, I'm just going to go off on a tangent here really quickly. But don't you love how every Black History Month, there's always that one event where they throw everybody off and you have to sing all of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Everybody starts fumbling for the lyrics. It's like, oh Lord, the lyrics are the back of the program. Oh Lord, let me turn it. Man. I love it when that happens, and I'm not even gonna front. I'm not gonna front. I do need the lyrics for the entire thing. I do need the lyrics, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. As always this morning, we really appreciate everyone. Every single morning you hang out with us, and so this is really one of the coolest parts of doing this show. Checking out all the folks who hang out with us on Facebook, the Facebook family. Of course, we are also streaming live on YouTube. Share that with your people out of state. We are on Instagram live as well. We have let's see. Oh, we got one person taking us out. Oh, that's me checking us out on Instagram. Never mind, don't worry about it. And then also you have the website, WBOK1230.com. You have the Play Ode app. Share this stuff with friends and family. So there are a couple of questions I want to put on the table right now. Based on the last couple of calls that we have, Reverend Calhoun brought up an interesting point that when we are talking about fighting, and I think this is a moment to fight. And what I think we are fighting is I don't want to focus on what we're fighting against. I want to focus on what we're fighting for. What we are fighting for is a society where everyone has the opportunity to live the best life that they can. And when you say that you are going to do away with something like DEI, there's no doubt that you are saying we want to take certain rights and privileges away from people. Because you and I know this. I'm not going to sit here and insult your intelligence. DEI was not something that was just pulled out of somebody's butt one day. I had this talk with somebody, actually. There are a couple of things I'm going to say on this. I was on a flight home from a conference. And I was sitting next to, how can I put it mildly? I was sitting next to a good old boy. And he got me into this conversation. And I knew where this conversation was headed. I knew where it was headed. So the conversation started off, it started off innocently enough. The conversation was, oh, you're from New Orleans. Oh, I used to watch the Saints back in the day. I'm from Missouri. Da, da, da. Sports. And then at some point, it floated into sports management and decision-making on an organizational level, which happens with sports all the time. And then I told the story about a bad decision I had seen made in my experiences in higher education. Why did I do that? I did it because, quite frankly, I was very interested in where the conversation would go. So I was actually kind of testing the waters just to see what would happen. And the flight wasn't very long, so it didn't really bother me all that much. And then the guy sitting next to me goes into how you have all of these things happening that just create problems in organizations like affirmative action. He specifically brought up affirmative action. I said, okay, bet. Okay, this is exactly where I thought we were going. And he did bring up DEI, but he actually kind of glossed over DEI. And then he kept going with other stuff that bothered him. I said, okay. I said, you know what? Let me help you out with something here. I said, I heard you mention DEI and how problematic you think it is. I said, do you know why DEI does not work in organizations? At least a lot of organizations. I said, imagine this. Imagine that you become the vice president of DEI at an organization. Your job is to make sure that the organization has people who are all able to work together and understand each other so you can make money. Not so that just one person can make money. Everybody can make their bread. We want the profits to go up. One thing that we have seen that has held us back from increasing our profits is that people are having a hard time working together. Why are they having a hard time working together? They're having a hard time working together because they simply do not understand each other. We have white workers who are having problems with black workers having problems with Asian workers who are having problems with Latino workers. We have straight workers who are having problems with LGBTQ workers. We have all of these people. We have disabled workers who are having problems with enabled workers. We're having all of these problems with people, and we need to figure this out. So you're hired as the vice president of DEI. Now, they hire you and they tell you, help us solve this problem so we can all make that money. But we're not going to give you a budget to do your job. We just need you to go ahead and tell everybody to make nice. So you don't do anything substantive to help people understand how to work with one another. Instead, you do your little DEI newsletter and you send out an email every so often. And all that stuff ever says is, all right, y'all, you got to figure out how to get along. Here's your DEI moment. It's Women's History Month. It's Black History Month. It is Pride Month. It's Disability Awareness Month. It is Neurodiversity Awareness Month. It is all these different months. And the workers in the meantime are saying, great, thank you for this newsletter. I'm not reading this garbage. Why are you telling me about Black History Month? I don't care. Why are you telling me about Women's History Month? I don't care. You have no budget to actually engage people and create programming to help them understand the philosophy of what you're doing so that the company can profit, so that everybody can make this money. What do you do? And he just kind of looked at me and he said, huh. And I said, so the reason a lot of DEI programming has frustrated people at a lot of companies is people have hired DEI officers and they have not given them a budget and they have not given them the capacity to do their frigging jobs. So it looks like these people are wasting time and it looks like the company has wasted money. And I could see on his face, he didn't want to admit that I had a point. But he did concede that what I said made sense. But he wanted to stay on his path, right? We know what this looks like. He wanted to stay on his path. My thing is this. What we are fighting for is a community where everybody acts like they got some damn sense. That's it. At the end of the day, that's what we're fighting for. And what we have is a government that has said, we don't want a community where people act like they got sense, because the less sense you got, the more we can do. So I want to go back very quickly to Reverend Calhoun's question. How do we decide where to fight? Because what Reverend Calhoun brought up, well, all the battles that we have on a state level, all the battles that we have on a federal level, how do we decide where to fight? I would love to hear from you. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. There's some comments on Facebook I want to go over really quickly. I appreciate y'all as always, but we're going to take a break right now. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good Friday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. This morning, a man is recovering in New Orleans after being shot in the Milan neighborhood. It happened just after midnight on Louisiana Avenue and South Saratoga Street, and he was taken to the hospital. Call Crime Stoppers if you know anything that can help investigators. 2 people are recovering after being shot in what appears to be a random shooting near Tulane Medical Center downtown. It comes as Tulane police shot and killed the gunman. Police say one of the victims is a Tulane maintenance worker. It happened yesterday afternoon between Tulane's downtown campus and the LCMC emergency room entrance. At last check, the 2 victims are in critical condition. Police say they're now working alongside New Orleans police as a force investigation team takes over. A court consolidation that will seriously shake up the judicial system in New Orleans is moving forward in the legislative session. This after an hours-long fierce debate. House Bill 911 is now moving on to the full House. It would merge criminal and civil court and reduce the number of judges from 27 to 13. The move is meant to put the system in line with orders across the state and save the city of New Orleans millions. However, those against the bill say judges already deal with high caseloads in the city and that cutting their numbers will make things worse. And the Senate approved the package to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security and end what is now the longest partial government shutdown. The bill heads to the House, where it could be voted on this morning before lawmakers leave for their 2-week spring break recess. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Hoops, Heat, The Truth, On Demand. Ball Don't Lie is now live on all podcast platforms. Tap in, search WBOK Media, find Ball Don't Lie, and bring the fire with you wherever you go. Download, share, and leave that 5-star review, because the game doesn't stop when the show ends.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. And please, wherever you go, drive carefully. Now, I'm not going to do what Will does to people. Will, I don't understand why Will does this. And I asked him this on the air. But when Will says, it's 8:15, if you got to be there by 8:20, you're late. I'm like, Will, what are you trying to do to people? Will tries to get people all frazzled and all over the place. So I will say this. It's 8:15. If it's 8:30, you got 15 minutes. There you go. Please drive carefully. But I do like the fact that Will frequently points out the importance of following the school zones. And listen, this is important because I have seen with my own eyes people who refuse to stop when the school bus stops and they almost hit a child. I have seen it. So please, please, please do the speed limit in the school zone. Please do the speed limit. And I've also been in a school zone going the speed limit, and I have not seen a child crossing the street. So, excuse me, or at least I haven't seen him step off the curb. And good thing I was doing 20 because I was able to stop in enough time to make sure that that child made it across the street. And we know how kids are. Sometimes kids just run into the street. We also know, as Will brings up every morning, you have the ones who just float into the street because they're on their phones. And so, yes, please do the speed limit in the school zones. I do love that Will brings that up every single morning. But then also, on a serious note, New Orleans-ese, can we talk New Orleans-ese? Alicia Plummer, can we talk to your people? I'm between Morrison and Bullard, going in either direction. Y'all drive like y'all got no sense. Zero sense. It's always at least 2 to 3 people who drive in and out of traffic, 1 foot off of people's bumpers, and you are trying to get from the Crowder exit or from the Crowder entrance to the Bullard exit. It's 2 exits. Why you guys drive like that? 2 exits. Can we talk New Orleans-ese? What I mean, holla at your boy. You know me. What is happening with our peoples? Anyway, so whatever I say, whatever you do, if you are going to get to work late, but you're going to be in one piece, get to work in one piece. If you decide to drive like a maniac and you get into an accident, you won't make it to work anyway. So you might as well get there late in one piece. All right. Hopefully that helps. So here we go with some of the, let's see. We have some really good comments on Facebook here. All right, let me see. Oh, Gary Ballier, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you. Definitely. Alicia Plummer, thank you as always. Let's see. She said, Eddie, in February, my church, Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, open service Sunday, singing the full breath of the National Black Anthem. It was powerful. I will tell you one of the most beautiful renditions of Lift Every Voice and Sing I have ever heard. Oh, what is this sister's name? Brandy Younger? Is it Brandy Younger? She's a harpist. Let me make sure I'm getting her name right. But I think it's Brandy Young. Yes, Brandy Younger. This sister played on one of her CDs, and I can't remember which album it is, but she has the most beautiful rendition of Lift Every Voice. Like, you can go to sleep to this rendition. Like, it is sleep music in a very, very good way. Like, you just feel like your mind and your spirit are clear and clean. I am so serious about this. Look her up. Brandy with 2 E's at the end. Brandy Younger. Look up her rendition of Lift Every Voice and Sing and thank me later. Let's see. Paul Jensen, thank you so much. Appreciate you for hanging out. Joshua Edmond, tell WBOK you need a raise. We got your back, Ed. Huh, bruh? Thanks. Just send those letters in. Send those letters in. All right. The general manager, his name is Justin. And let's see. Okay, Gary Ballier Jr., he said on Facebook, over the last couple of years, we have allowed 60 plus years of gains in political power to be squandered. We got to go back to the 60s playbook. Gary, I would love for you to elaborate on that, because that is, I agree with you. I do agree with you that we have squandered 60 years of gain. And here's the worst part. We didn't realize it until it was too late. We didn't realize it. For instance, everything that Project 2025 said that it would do, they have actively worked on it, and they have accomplished some of that stuff. And there were people who I think there were people who heard about Project 2025 and didn't even believe it was a thing. That's the first thing. I think there were other people who read it and didn't believe that it could be done. For instance, dismantling the Department of Education, right? And I think what the administration is trying to show people, well, not show people, what the administration is doing is they are saying, you know what, we're just going to be a bull in a china shop, and we're going to dismantle as much stuff as possible, because at the end of the day, what are they trying to do? These are folks who they're trying to make money. They want to privatize stuff. That's what's in the air, right? That's what's in Project 2025. Privatization. And what this administration has done is they have said, watch us work. And to your point, Gary, I think we squandered it because we didn't believe that people would actually do some of these things. Cliff Dugard, thank you so much for weighing in. Jacqueline Wilmore, what she says on Facebook is the New Orleans delegation should be putting out a clarion call about the changes to the courts in Orleans Parish only. The citizens who can go should be on buses traveling to Baton Rouge. Holly Heidel, thank you so much. Appreciate you for hanging out this morning on Facebook. The Facebook family is really, really in. Karen Marks, she's responding to Pop Jones. Karen Marks said, yes, Pop Jones, we the believers must stand and know it is impactful and effective. Scripture says, after you've done all you can do, stand therefore. Apathy will never accomplish anything, absolutely nothing. And I wanted to come back to this point about bringing faith back into what's happening. Now, I want to make a distinction. Faith, not necessarily religion. So faith can be applicable to any faith practice. It can be Christianity, it can be Islam, it can be Buddhism, it can be whatever, right? It can be Judaism, it can be whatever. One of the things that Jews do very well is they weave faith into their cultural practices, their financial practices, into other practices. Now, before somebody jumps on and says, see, we need to do what Jews do. Why aren't we like the Jews? Let me just stop you before you start that. Let's remember that Jews have had thousands of years to operationalize within their culture and their nationality and also their faith and weave it all together. They've done this for thousands of years. Same thing with Asians. They've done this for thousands of years. So when people take a look at black folks in America and say, why don't we do the same thing? We haven't had thousands of years. And also, Asians have their land, Jews have their land, Muslims have their land, right? Black folks in America, we don't necessarily have our land. So these people of all these other nationalities and faiths, they've had thousands of years to bring all of that together, weave it together so that they could have solid practices. And we in Black America are still figuring it out. I say that not as an excuse. I say that because I would like to see us to stop beating each other up over this. I would like for us to stop this thing that we do where we compare ourselves to other ethnicities and say, why don't we do it the same way? There's a very good reason. The deck was deliberately stacked against us from the beginning. We did not develop this land, America. We were brought to the land. It was human trafficking. That's how we got here. So we're at a point where we are developing all of these things, but we're fighting against a system. And we need to forgive ourselves for that. We need to give ourselves grace for that. And we need to keep looking forward and working forward. Ms. Jones, I see that you are on the line right now. I am coming to you right after this break. The phone line, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Facebook family, keep coming with the comments. I appreciate you. I would love to know your thoughts. If you're on YouTube, I would love to know your thoughts. If you're on Instagram Live, I would love to know your thoughts as well. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Expect partly cloudy skies and a very warm day ahead. Could even reach near records for some places, looking at 82 to 86 degrees. And then for tonight, a cold front moves in that's going to drop our temperatures as we head into Saturday. So for tonight, 56 to 62, and then for Saturday, highs only 74 to 76. Dry conditions as well, a fire watch in effect for the North Shore. Then for Sunday, back into the 70s as well, 80s next week. For the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do. Every Monday is Moving Monday.
And Tuesday is Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to.
All day long.
The National World War II Museum. Located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans, the National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Greetings and salutations. I am Edward B. Coulon Smith, chairman of the board of the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to invite you to tune in every Wednesday at 12 noon on WBOK to listen in on Black to Business and be a part of the movement that's going on. Thank you.
New Orleans, the city of festivals and second chances. This is Mr. Rocky of Faithers in Jesus the Christ, inviting everyone to come to the table of grace. No matter where you are or what you're dealing with, guilt, bad habits, mistakes, or heavy hearts, Jesus still calls us his friend, and his grace is waiting for us. Tune in to WBOK 1230 AM or watch live on Facebook or Instagram. We'll reflect on his work on the cross, his resurrection, his ascension, and the hope of his return for we who that believe and have received him by faith. So join us at the table of grace, where mercy is fresh, forgiveness is real, and grace is served for people like you and me.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. All right, we need to get to the phone lines right now because we got a couple of people waiting. We got Ms. Jones waiting this morning. Good morning, Ms. Jones. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good morning to you and to the listening audience, and thank you for being there. So often the churches are not preaching or telling about nation against nation, which to me amounts to racial discrimination. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, so we can't change as far as that's concerned. But our history, we need to do everything that we can to keep and have it available and still teach it not just through the electronics, because eventually it might cut that off. Whereas if you have books, you have hands-on right there. Don't have to worry about electricity. And just keep pushing to teach it. Economic history, health history of our people, and just everything, because we are talented people. They make all the money. We see none of it. It's ours. So that history is very important, and not just on electronics. I'm just so afraid it won't be available. And then, as far as history, the health care of our people, just to be able to keep up with your own health. They're nervous, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, people are not thinking, and they're just depressed.
Yeah.
Take better care so you could think more clearly. Our economic history, pool our resources. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, because all those people who follow Trump, they've been paid probably.
Oh, yes, they have.
You're going to be sorry because it's all going to be taken away more than likely.
You want to know the worst part, though, Ms. Jones? You can tell the ones who've been paid. Because you
can.
You can tell they don't mean it. You can tell. And a long time ago, I'll never forget this, when Glenn Beck had his show on Fox News, on Fox TV. I remember a long time ago, and we're talking well over 20 years ago, he admitted on his show once, this is all theater, folks. He said it. He said it. All of the stuff that they talk about, the views that they take, the positions that they take, and I don't mean the conservative views or opinions. I mean the extreme views and opinions. Yeah. He admitted that it is all theater. So you cannot tell me that the folks who come with the foolishness that they come with right now, you can, like that goofy lieutenant governor in North Carolina who just admitted whatever he just admitted. You know, I mean, these people, they're all paid actors.
They are. And our goofy governor, he's going to find out Trump doesn't like him. Trump doesn't like Southerners, white Southerners.
He sure doesn't.
From the North. He thinks he's more educated and what have you.
Trump doesn't like the South, period. The only thing
he can't stand it. That's why I understand why the governor of Louisiana doesn't understand that. He doesn't know history.
As far as Trump is concerned, the only thing useful about the South is land.
Exactly.
That's it. And people who are going to vote for him. That's it. I mean, it's like that phone call when he got on the phone calls in Georgia and he said, I need 11,000 votes. Find me 11,000 votes.
Exactly.
That's all Georgia was good for him.
That's every bit, and they don't even realize it.
No, it is. Oh, Lord. Yeah, it is so goofy.
Just need to wake up and just stop, just sober up. They're going to have to become sober because it's, if not, it's just going. And we have people, we remember some people who do a lot of great things. Mm-hmm. But we have some people that they keep buried, like 18-Wheeler with education. She preached for years.
Yes, Sandra 18-Wheeler Hester, yes. Mm-hmm.
Everything that she has said and more has happened. Mama D with the prison systems.
And
she would go and visit all the time.
And I would say this, I know that there's a group of us in New Orleans and Black New Orleans who may not necessarily disagree with what they said or how they said it, but we should at least listen.
Exactly.
We should
because
at least
everybody's
listen.
going to say something that's disagreeable one time or another.
Yeah.
We just have to listen to all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just have more of a kind heart to our things. That's their opinions.
Yeah.
You have yours, but until we keep this history, pass it down, and I heard you saying about lift every voice, we shall overcome. Mahalia Jackson did a theme song, We Shall Overcome, during the Civil Rights Movement. Mm-hmm. If anybody would really put it in play its own, it's beautifully sung.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gives you strength. Our people had to find some kind of way because it was some hellfire ways back then. Mm-hmm. It's no different, and what makes it hard is not knowing. And what makes it even worse is people hold back information. Our information is distorted. Mm-hmm. And right now, destroying all, and you're going to depend on online. You're going to be offline before you know it.
Absolutely.
without any effort on your part.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. I appreciate you calling as always. Have a good one.
I appreciate you too. Thank you.
All right. And I mean, Ms. Jones, I have to say this. At one point, I was going to push back just a little bit on what Ms. Jones said. But here is the thing. About technology. Yes, technology can be our friend if we figure out how to leverage it well. But to her point, right now on social media, what's not our friend? The algorithms. The algorithms on social media platforms are not our friends right now. And that is not to villainize social media. It is to help us realize that the algorithms are designed to do a particular thing. And for what I think we are trying to do in Black America, a lot of times, the algorithm isn't always our friend. Because the algorithms on these platforms, Instagram, TikTok, definitely the Meta platforms, Facebook, and Threads right now, the algorithm favors negative behavior, or I should say toxic behavior. It favors that. And so for people who are truly trying to make progress, it can be incredibly hard. So to her point, Ms. Jones' point about how we pass history down, yes, we can use these platforms to our advantage, but we have to be careful, in my opinion. There's always word of mouth. Word of mouth has always been a strong Black tradition. Nobody has ever stopped word of mouth. Nobody. As much as they have tried to stop word of mouth, they have not stopped word of mouth. But the other thing, I will say this, and I'm going to make a shameless plug. The other thing that has worked in our favor as far as history, and we always miss this, is art or the arts. The arts are really good at telling the Black American story. And the shameless plug that I will make is that a couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of interviewing Cheryl Sutton, Will's wife, about the power of the arts in our community and why it works. I interviewed her on the way forward. And so you can actually go, shameless plug, you can go to my YouTube channel. You can see that interview. But what it's really about listening to the wisdom that Cheryl Sutton shared about the arts and what it does for our community. Okay, we got folks on the line. We got Elwin on the line this morning. Elwin making a phone call before 9 a.m. What's up, Elwin?
Hey, man, Parliament and the Funkadelics is added to the Essence Festival.
They are?
Yeah.
Parliament and Funkadelic?
Parliament and Funkadelic.
Oh.
I just heard it. And George Clinton.
Oh, you ready? You ready? You gonna do your thing?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready. This be my first time hearing. This is my first time catching them in concert. Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. You know what? This is one of those. This is a generational show. I'm gonna have to really think about this. I'm gonna have to really think about it because all right, Elwin, I have seen Bootsy in concert.
Yeah.
I saw Bootsy, Zap, and the Ohio Players in concert.
Okay, all them people from Ohio, right?
They are. They're all from Ohio. Oh, and War. I saw them all the same show. So
wow.
So this I'm gonna have to think about it. Thanks for that update. This is breaking news. Dun, 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 dun. Thank you. Elwin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine.
You sound good.
I'm doing fine.
You sound good.
I'm doing fine.
Good, man. You're
taking care of myself.
You're taking care of yourself? All right. I saw you made a visit.
Yeah.
I saw you made a visit to the radio station, man. I'm sorry I missed it that day.
You saw me make a visit to the radio station.
I saw you made a
Kim
and man.
Braylon.
Yeah, I missed it, man. I should have been here to get my autograph, man.
Yeah, I should have been there. Yeah, you should have been there.
Well, Graylin and Campbell, they don't invite me to the show anymore. I've been banned from the front porch. I'm joking. I'm joking. They have not banned me. I'm joking. They haven't banned me. I'm joking about that. Well, Elwin, man, thank you for calling. Thank you for the update. I know you're going to be in the house, man, so I'm going to have to try to be in the house, too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in the house with them because the first time I'm checking them out.
Man, that is dope. That is dope. All right. Well, cool. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for calling.
All right.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right, we got T-Bone on the line. Good morning, T-Bone.
Good morning, Eddie. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
All right. Dog, him saying that about Parliament Funkadelic didn't change my thought process. Now I got to find my mothership connection somewhere on my playlist, man. Look, I saw, well, it wasn't all of them because George Clinton wasn't with them, but last time I saw them was 98, 99. I forgot the name of that casino boat that used to be out there just before you went in the East, but they used to have some nice concerts back in the day, and that was one of them.
They did.
That was one of them dates I had with my girlfriend. It ended up being my wife, man. And they turned it out. It was only about 5 of them. Had to do with the diaper on the stage with the bass. They didn't have George, but they still sounded good. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
If you're not a Parliament fan, you don't understand that word I just said. If you ain't a Parliament fan, you don't understand. They got to be funky with the dude with the diaper on stage.
Listen, man, I'm just glad that the funk brought you and your bride together. So wait, T-Bone, that makes her a bride of Funkenstein.
Yep. If you don't know about Dr. Funkenstein, you need to look him up.
That makes
Google
her
it,
a bride of Dr. Funkenstein.
Google it up, man. Google it up if you don't know. Oh, man. See, I was coming with some serious thought. Nah, my thought process is all out here. Let me try to pull this together.
You can do it, man. I believe in you. I have faith in you.
So what I'm going to say is going to be unpopular with a lot of people, black folks, but this is the truth. The reason why we cannot do like the other races that you mentioned earlier is because our mindset is different. Vietnamese, Asians, whatever, they will pool their resources in one house and put a business together. Latinos, they will get together to build or repair a house and all be living in a house together. I've seen it. I've lived next to it. Black folks, I think the only time I've seen black folks live together, and I went through this, was during Katrina, coming from here. You understand? I tell this story all the time. I had 13 people in a 2-bedroom house. Apartment. And my wife was pregnant at that time. But we could not stay together for a whole year. It was just too much.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is this. It stems all the way back, I think, to Africa. And the reason I say that is they have something called tribalism. Okay? Whether you're talking about South Africa, the Zulus and the Hausa, you're talking about Rwanda with the Tutsis, you're talking about Kenya with the Lua and the Kikuyu. You understand? They have trouble working together completely. And when I say completely, I mean 100%. Completely without that tribalism coming up. Now, they always get violent, but there's that, I guess you could say it's sort of like a sibling rivalry, but to an extreme. Here, it is too extreme. And part of that was the white man's separation of the tribes. You understand? We had some sort of unity when we was all in our own country because we were all Africans then. But over time, he separated our origins. He separated our mindsets, took away our language, took away our original religions and our ways and traditions. Because those mindsets were planted into our minds like weeds, we no longer want to work together enough in this world that we live in now.
But
that's the problem with black folks here. That's my observation.
So let me ask you this. So is that our problem, or is that the problem of the society in which we were conditioned? Because, in my opinion, from a broader sense, we as Black Americans were socialized and conditioned in a society where individualism is the thing, period. And so while there are a lot of us who I think did hand down those traditions and those values from our ancestors who were enslaved, others not so much. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think it might depend on communities. It might depend on specific types of communities. It might depend on situations. I don't want to make this a Black folks problem. I'm wondering if this is much more about the society in which we were conditioned, or I should say, I don't want to make this a Black American problem.
I will say it's both, and here's why I say it's both.
Okay.
Because you see the traits of some white folks in terms of, let's take this election for instance. White folks are split clean down the middle with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them have leaned one way or another with recent events. However, this election will tell you that they were split clean down the middle. They didn't get together to vote for Trump. They got together to vote their issues, their hot button issues. You understand?
Yeah.
Black folks split clean down the middle during this election. See? So we actually mirrored their mindset for our own reasons. You had Black men that would not vote for Kamala Harris because they didn't want a woman in charge. You had women say they didn't want a woman in charge and voted against her or didn't vote at all. You had Black folks that said, man, this don't make no sense to vote for him. We saw what he did the first time, vote against him, and they threw weight behind Harris, but it wasn't enough of us. Now, look at the local issues. You have Black folks here who bragged on former Mayor Cantrell. She did do some things. She wasn't 100% perfect, but she did do some things for the community. She did try to fix the streets. She did try to change the infrastructure, but she constantly had to fight who? The city council, led by another Black person, led by other Black people. Now led by Helena Moreno, who, by the way, is supposed to be Latina, but she don't talk Latina. She talks white issues. And we totally overshoot this. We totally overlook this. And we still voted for her. Not because she was going to address our issues. Why? Because we know her name. And that's part of the problem. We don't get educated on what we should get educated on. We're so busy bragging on different people and listen to other people when we don't examine what we should examine, what affects us as a people, our families as a people. I still hear people ragging on Obama today talking about he didn't do nothing for the Black community. Didn't you have the Affordable Care Act? Weren't you able to take your mama and them to the hospital without killing yourself in your pocketbook? That man was a part of that.
Yeah, and listen, T-Bone, I appreciate it. We got to move on, but thank you so much because I appreciate your insight as always. Have a good one, man. But I appreciate you. All right,
y'all too. Enjoy y'all Friday.
All right, you got it, brother. Actually, we got a couple of phone calls, and I want to get to these phone calls before we close out. I'm gonna get one in. Oh Lord, yeah, let me get this one in. Josh is on the line. What's going on, Josh? Josh, you still there? All right, cool. Let me get Alicia in then. All right, Alicia, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm getting over a terrible, terrible head and chest cold.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, feel better.
Oh, I do. Trust me. T-Bone has really gotten me so disgusted with his comments and stuff. The thing that I don't like about us as a people, we want to lump all of us together, all of us as one. All of us didn't come on that ship. We were here already. We have, especially here in Louisiana, we have more Native Americans that they don't want to call Native Americans. They call us Creoles, that they don't want to give us credit for. We didn't all come on the ship. And even when you talk about the different aspects of being black, comparing us to other ethnicities, I agree. That shouldn't happen. So in the first thing out of his mouth, he talked about the Asians. First off, the Asians came here with a welfare package. They have free food, free housing, free health care, free education, and tax exemptions, of which they still get. What have the blacks gotten? Nothing. Nothing. Jews, they're getting reparations, and we were never their oppressors. What have we gotten? Nothing. We've been conditioned to hate each other, and we continue the same old stuff. When you see that it's not being right, how we're being treated, what we're not getting, speak up. I don't care what color the person is. And we have to stop this foolishness. And it just really, really makes me disgusted. But we really need a symposium about all this stuff so that we can get the credits for all that's about us as being black. We didn't all come on that ship.
Yeah. And that's exactly. And Alicia, I got to go to commercial break. Thank you so much for calling. And that is something that I really think is important for us to understand as well. But let's take the commercial break. 2 more calls. We're gonna go ahead and squeeze these in. Let's go to commercial break. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
New Orleans never sleeps, and neither does WBOK. Now, every voice, every moment, and every show is in your pocket. Search WBOK Media wherever you get podcasts. Download, share, rate us 5 stars. Because when you support us, you amplify black voices and the New Orleans culture.
Come celebrate the history, legacy, and culture of the African diaspora with the Congo Squares Rhythm Festival presented by the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation on March 28th and 29th in Louis Armstrong Park. Don't miss 2 full days of live musical performances featuring Chawa, Zigaboo Modaliste, Big Sam's Funky Nation, and many, many more. A variety of food vendors, handmade works of art, and the return of the highly anticipated Class Got Brass competition. This event is free and open to the public. For more information, visit CongoSquareRhythms.com.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
When it comes to family planning, should you go with a will or a trust?
A will is like leaving instructions to the court. It tells them who gets what, but your family still has to go through a succession, which can be costly and time-consuming.
A trust, on the other hand, avoids court altogether. So when the time comes, everything transfers smoothly to your loved ones.
It's a little more work up front, but way less hassle and expense later. Plan smart, save time, and take care of your family.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. All right, we got about 3-4 minutes in the show, so I'm going to take these two calls. We're going to have to go quick, but I do want to read comment on Instagram Live. OT, he decided to weigh in. He said, I hear T-Bone, and he's usually on point, but the narrative of blacks can't work together is not true. There are too many instances where we blacks have pulled together, where black folks have pooled their resources and have tried to come together. I agree with that. There are so many instances in which we have done it, and a lot of it is a case-by-case basis, and that supports Alicia, what she said as well. Okay, Janet, we're coming to you right now. Janet, you got about 60 seconds. What you got?
Good morning, Mr. Francis. A quote from Dr. Martin Luther King says, our lives begin to end the day we are silent to the things that matter. I want to answer Reverend Calhoun. Our youth matters. Our education matters. We have to fight all of the fights. We just have to mobilize and organize. God bless you and have a good weekend.
Thank you so much, Janet. Aaron, you are going to help us close out the show. What you got? About 60 seconds.
Straight up, look, first shout out to the Father Hill Round Table as well as the Hippie Lean Gun Club. I'm going to say this right here. You hear me? One of the problems that we have is that we got black people that sit in these so-called seats of power, and they doing more hurt and harm to us than the oppressor is. The next thing we got to do as far as us not being able to work together, all we got to do, and we continue to have examples on us pooling our money, power, and resources together, make, deal, and be the changes that we want to see. Because the more we continue to allow other people to come into our culture and steal from us, because we keep on leaving the door open for the opportunists, we're going to continue to be in the same boat that we continue to be in. Only us going to save us. Ain't nobody coming to do it, matter if it's Obama, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. They constantly show you over and over and over again that they don't give a damn about us, but we keep on putting our trust in them. In like that.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Aaron. And so that is going to put a cap on it. Man, what a way to end the show. Folks came with it at the end of the show, Jared. How about that? I see what you people are doing. Hey, listen, there are 3 things that I got for you, okay? Number 1, another shameless plug. Tomorrow on The Way Forward, part 2 of a great conversation with Dr. Eugene Lee Johnson, assistant professor of political science from Southern University, about electability. This brother has depth. When I say depth of knowledge and insight, he has it. So please listen to that conversation about electability, something that we talk about every election. Part 2, I'm going to ask you to do something, okay? This weekend, the weather's going to be nice. Go hang out at a black bookstore. Just do it. You don't have to buy anything. Just go hang out. Go check out Ms. Vera at the Community Book Center on Bayou Road and do something else on Bayou Road. We got a couple of things happening on Bayou Road. And after that, after you hang out with Ms. Vera at the Community Book Center, then go over to Baldwin and Company and hang out over there as well. Hang out at a black bookstore, support our black businesses. Coming up next is The Front Porch. Kimber is in the house. And then she's dancing. She's doing interpretive dance in the interpretive dance the Congo Square Rhythm Festival. Go hang out and do that too. All right, up next is The Front Porch. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. Thanks for making it a great show. You make this show great all the time. Jared, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. I'm Eddie Francis, in for Will Sutton on The Good Morning Show. What New Orleans is talking about on WBOK, that's backwards. Oh!